Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Faction Turn 5 here on Beacon Space. Let's switch on over to this layout. Welcome into Faction Turn 5, everyone. I'm your host, as always, Lichmaster98, and as of this month, I've been wearing my trench coat in my Discord icon, so that's who I am this month. I hope you've had some fun, been able to create some cool lore, and I think all the factions for getting in their turns on time with the appropriate votes for all the TCGI or Tellus Terra Group initiative stuff. If you're new here and you're like, what's this thing that's going on? This is the Faction Turn. It's run on a monthly basis in the wonderful world of Beacon Space. We're using a modified version of the Stars Without Numbers tabletop RPG's Faction Turn system, which is originally intended as a single player GM game, and we've converted it into a multiplayer game that we're using a Discord server to facilitate. There are a bunch of people that are controlling the different factions turns that you'll see here today, and I, as the GM, facilitate this turn and all the associated dice rolls that go along with it. So I think that's the breadth of my introduction. We also have, as I mentioned, the Discord server. You can get the link in chat through a Discord !Discord command. We also have a wiki that has a bunch of the lore on it that can also be accessed through a wiki !Wiki, I believe is the chat command there. So if you want to check out either of those, you can get to it. Yeah, as was mentioned, small stream upgrade. We have all the factions logos here rotating on the center of stream, and I hope that's provides something to look at on the screen. Let me know if people think it's too quick of a transition. It's just the default time right now of about like 8 to 10 seconds on the screen, I believe. So, oh, did the wiki command not work? I swear there was a. It's ! Beacon space. I have the command in my head wrong. There we are. But it does exist. Cool. All right, well, with that, let's go ahead and get started with our faction turn. So we have to get started here with the resolution of the Tellus Terra Group's initiative vote from last turn, which I will remind you the factions voted on the funding reallocation, which was the Tellus Terra Group initiative has management double check its accounting books. Option 1 was 3 unique random factions gain 1 faction credit, and option 2 was 6 unique random factions lose a faction credit, but the Tellus terraforming clock increases by 1. I'm excited to report that the vote has been tallied, and 6 factions chose to support option 1, while 3 factions chose to support option 2. Like normal, I'll be making a post in Discord afterwards with these results after the stream, so there will be a text record as well. And so with that, let's go award 3 random factions 1 fact cred. So let's swap on over to our Roll20 window here. And I came prepared, and I made a macro to roll me a random faction. So let's get started, and the first random faction is Larkspur Combine. Let's go give them 1 faction credit on the spreadsheet here. Wonderful spreadsheet that tracks everything about the game. Larkspur Combine now has 13 faction credits. All right, let's go roll our next faction. It's the Amelhart Institute, gaining 1 fat cred, so they are also at 13. And finally, we've rolled Tahora Fai. They get 1 faction credit, bringing them up to 10. Alright, I should make a note about that. Maybe I'll do that on here. I don't believe I had these, paired yet. Let's just pay. I think I want to insert one to the right and then paste and then make these the correct numbers. 4.5 trades. Apparently I was bad in my management of the sheet. If there were any trades this turn, they are not on the sheet yet, and I will take care of that after the stream. So this column should be entirely empty. Great, and we'll empty all of these out as well. I knew I was missing to do something before the stream, and it was prepare the correct columns. So I rolled Larkspur, Amelhart, and Tahora, so let's track those here. Larkspur +1 FC from TTGI roll. Why is that a formula? Shouldn't be. And then it was Amelhart and Tahora. Great. That takes care of resolving the TTGI rolls voting from last turn. So we'll move on to our first faction. And our first faction this month is the Assembled Commonwealth. Let me move these centered, as that probably looks nicer. So the Assembled Commonwealth is starting us off, and they're going to be taking the goal of Seized Planet. We'll give them their income, and then they're also going to be taking the action of Seized Planet. So let's go take care of all that. Seized Planet for Assembled Commonwealth right here. I mean, right there. And then let's give them their income, so they get 6 faction credits, bringing them up to 14. And then they have, oops, wrong tab. They have, let me sort these by location now instead of by faction. And let's check out Planet In right here, where Assembled Commonwealth has a commodities broker on it, and they are going to start seizing this planet. So they're able to do that right away. Let's go make a note. Here they are. And let's add a new line because they're starting a second seize. Seize of Planet In. It's going to automatically tick up to 1 to 3, so I'll just type it in that way. It's disappeared. Where's the text? There it is. I guess we'll go that way. Cool. And then they have another action on their turn. They're going to take a covert shipping, which can activate for free. Let me find it, just put it up on screen. Covert shipping right here. Can move a special forces asset. They're going to be using the covert shipping that is on their homeworld of Mancuraniti. Right here, this one to move a commodities broker that is on Idarast. Right up here to Nueva Comatak. I apologize. I was not able to get the map to load for me before the stream, so I don't have a nice map to look at for these distances, but I verified them all in advance, and so this is a valid movement. Covert shipping has a range of 3 hexes around it, centered on itself, and the both destination and source are within that range. So let's go ahead and move this to Nueva Cuauhtemoc. Let me see if I can actually remember to pronounce that correctly. And then let's go charge them 1 faction credit. And then Symbol Commonwealth is now down to 13. And then they are going to take the advantage of their seize action to make an attack against the Algamala Syndicate with the commodities brokers that we just moved. Because of the Imperialist tag right here, there is advantage on this attack, as the Imperialist tag gets an extra d10 rolled for attacks made as part of the Seize Planet action. The Algamala Syndicate has chosen to defend with their informers that are on planet. So it's going to be a wealth B wealth roll, as dictated by the commodities broker. So let's go make the rolls for the assembled Commonwealth first. I've got the roll pre-prepared, so a C's roll. 2d10, keeping 1, plus 6 for their wealth score, gives them a roll of 14. They rolled a 2 and an 8. The 8 is the better of the 2, and then add 6 to it. And then Agumala Syndicate is going to be rolling a d10 plus 2, so they lose no matter what, but let's go ahead and roll and see what they roll. They rolled a 9, which is great. Um, and then that resolves that out. There's a question about the Imperialist tag. I thought it was just any attack on the C's turn. We can go check though. What would it be called? Imperialist? Do we have it in here? Wasn't good that I couldn't find it. Was searching for it. Tag as written. Attacks made as part of the C's planet action. I'm not finding that clarification in the current rule stock that we have. So, I can pull out the PDF. 1 second, I don't have an easy way to share that on screen at this moment, but I can open it. Yeah, and this attack still is part of the C's action, even though it's not an attack on the planet which is being seized. You're getting to make this attack because of the C's. Yeah, I think. No, that's fine. I don't mind double checking and making sure that we're using the tags correctly. Okay, cool. It's an important thing to make sure we have it right for the first time we encounter these new tags. And it doesn't hurt to do some searching. The rules document itself is 14. The clarifications document, excuse me, is 14 pages long, so it is easy to miss and forget things. Okay, let me go ahead and roll the damage of this, and then I'll resolve it all out onto the sheet. So the damage from Assembled Commonwealth is doing 2d8, dealing 9 damage. Okay, let me go make these notes and then clarify out the attacks. So the C's was begun. Let's add both of these. And then the attack was made. And this yielded a 8 plus 6 equals 14. And this was a 7 plus 2 equals 9. And the damage was equal to 9. Which will destroy the informers. Because informers only have 1 HP. They're a fairly weak asset. I'm going to go ahead and copy in the XP port while we're updating this. Great. Let's go appropriately update the assets. So on Nueva Comotac, let me sort by that again so that I can... Guatemala. Man, I know as I said it, I was saying it wrong. Okay, so here's the informers. They have 1 HP. They die, so we'll just delete this row. Great. It does actually matter on this one, because if it hadn't have worked that way on the roll, you would have actually won, because the first roll was a 2, and so that would have resolved out to an 8. So it was important that we checked. But that takes care of all of that. We've destroyed the asset as it goes destroyed. Let's go resolve the C's for Assembled Commonwealth with Mankara Nitis. Picks up the 3, so that completes this C. Let's take care of my new line break. And then there's plus 1 XP for completing the goal of planetary seizure, excuse me. And then on the planet map, we can go find what piece just finished up here? Macaroniti, excuse me, and an additional XP is gained because this planet has the mechanical tag for that. And let's grant planetary government to the assembled Commonwealth. Great. Let's go give them that 1 extra XP, bringing them up to 6. So that finishes up the Commonwealth's turn, and we can take a step into our next faction of choice. We will progress over to Larkspur Combine, who is second this turn. And they're going to be setting the inside enemy territory goal and then completing it this turn, so I don't see a reason to do the thing where I set the goal and then immediately go remove it. At least I believe they're going to be completing it this turn. We'll double check, but I believe they are. So they're going to be taking the inside enemy territory goal. Let's give them their faction creds of 4. Larkspur Combine is now at 17. Let's go roll the post-tech industry, which is, I believe, a D6, and gains some fact creds or potentially loses some. Right? Yep. All right, let's go roll a D6, and then we'll see the result. We rolled a 6, which I believe is the best result, gaining 2 faction credits for Larkspur Combine. Quite nice, bringing them up to a balance of 19. So let's make a note. D6 equals 6 plus 2 FC. Just to make sure that the goal is actually complete. It is cunning score on other worlds. Larkspur's cunning score is 3. Yeah, and they're moving 3 assets. Good, so they will complete this goal. Let's go move their assets around if I can find the right tab. So they're moving the seductresses that are on Nueva Cuauhtemoc right here to Karkaduk. Both of these have moved away. And then the surveyors that are on Icaros, which is right here, is moving to Heliocytus. Again, I would love to have been able to show these on the map, but unfortunately it wasn't working for me today. So these movements have already been made before those, so we're well aware that they are fine. And then inside enemy territory grants 2 experience points when it was completed. So let's go add 2 XP to Larkspur Combine, bringing them up to 8. Nice. That wraps up their turn, so we'll move on to the next faction in our faction turns today. For the Tahora Fai. Someone's mentioned that the Larkspur Combine could have XP'd up. Let me double check. Oh, yep, apologies. It is written down on my side list, but I just missed it. So we'll go ahead and do that now because it was listed in the correct spot. Well, technically it occurs here. So we're having this occur for the first time where I believe, nope, Starlit Court did it last time, I believe. But we'll go ahead and upgrade Larkspur's Combine's Force to 3. And let me locate the appropriate XP cost for that. And see if I can get the PDF on stream to verify that number. All right, there we are. PDF appeared, factions, and The XP chart is right here, so going from 2 to 3 costs 4 XP. Yeah, they had enough XP before the turn, so that this is fine to go ahead and make this fix. This was my mistake. Larkspur Combine would be at 4 XP. It would have been at 2 and then gain 2 to get to 4. So that all works out. All right. So let's now that I've fixed that mistake that I almost made, thanks chat. Let's go handle Tohora Fai's turn. And they're going to be taking the expand influence goal. And then they're going to, unsurprisingly, expand influence. But let's go give them their income first of 4 faction credits. So that brings them up to a balance of 14. And then they have 1 asset here on planet, where'd it go? Planet J, up at the top here. So that, excuse me, that's the planet they are going to be expanding their influence onto, placing a 1 HP BOI. So let's go ahead and do that right here. Insert 1 below. Yep, that's fine. Tohora, Fai, base of influence. No cost. Oh. Yep. I want to drag all of these down. Thank you. Max HP of 1, HP of 1. Great. That takes care of the expand influence. Let's go charge them that 1 faction cred, bringing them down to 13. They've completed the expand influence, gaining them 1 XP, giving them a total of 6, because it was uncontested as there was nobody else on the homeworld. Oh, that's right, this auto increments. Annoying little thing. Fixed. Thanks. There's a question. Will the sheet auto adjust homeworld base? I'm not understanding that question. I believe I just fixed the base of influence, but I'm not understanding the homeworld base. Okay, home. Oh, yeah, the sheet should update this HP automatically. I doubt it's going to auto update on this page. Oh, look at that. I was smart and pointed it at the values already. So it did auto update. Because it's 18 rather than 16 or 15, whatever it was at before. Yeah, it would have been at 16. It's now 18, and it's fixed here. Man, look at that. I thought ahead and already fixed this. Cool. Well, thank you for having us check, because otherwise I would have just assumed it was correct. But past me thought of this in advance, so woohoo. I think that resolves out to Horrify turn and verifies Larkspur's homeworld base of influence, which is always equal to your faction HP now. Great. So we can move on to the next faction in our turn this month for the Amelhart Institute, who are taking the Use Asset Ability turn and are going to be gaining their 5 faction credits, and then they're going to be rolling some commodities brokers. So let's go give them their 5 faction credits. So Amelhart Institute now has a total of 18. They're moving their homeworld of Ingrid from 07012 to 0613, which is going to break the sheet, but it's fine. We'll take care of it. So all of these now move to 0613. Ingrid, Ingrid. And will this drag correctly? No, of course not. I'll just copy and paste. Yes, thank you. That's right. To horrify use, speed counter needed to increase. And let's fix this. 0613. Okay, that should be all of the spreadsheet location. Why you disappear on me? Okay, that was weird. That should fix all of the spreadsheet location links for the homeworld update. We've gotten their Cs. Cool, that takes care of the move, I believe. Everything on planet moved. And then we have 3 commodities brokers to roll for. I believe it's important to know which commodities broker has what discounts, just for relevancy. So let's go get those commodities brokers right here. It's going to be 3d8s. So 5, 2, and 4 for a total discount of 11. So asset tracker, commodities broker. I'm just going to use this. 5 FC discount. This one has, I believe it was 2 FC discount. And the last one, the Emilhart Institute, is right here, which has a 4 FC discount. Great. Total of 11 for whenever they next make a purchase. And that wraps up Emilhart Institute's turn, and they also have a seize ongoing, so it ticks along to 2 out of 3. That takes care of that. The rules were 524. Let me make sure that I noted those right. 524. Yep. Okay. All good. That resolves out Amblehart Institute's turn, and so we'll move on to the Concord of Mutual Disdain, who are going to be buying an asset this turn. So let's go give them their money so they can make this purchase. Concord of Mutual Disdain goes up to 17 faction credits, and then they're going to be making the purchase of a Postech Industry on Karkaduke. Right here. Let's go ahead and just insert a row. I can drag down. Hey, look, they already have a few of these. So that's nice. It's going to cost them 8 faction credits. So we'll take care of that. That's the purchase. This has purchase thickness on it. And then they're going to go down from 17 minus 8 is 9. Great. There's that purchase out of the way, and a quick turn from the Concord and Mutual Disdain. I wonder what seafood delectable this Postech Industry will make, as that seems to be the primary export of Karkaduke. But moving on to Children of the Vane's turn, who are 6th this faction, or this 6th this faction turn. They're going to be taking the attack action, but let's go give them their 6 faction credits. Children of the Vane's balance goes up to 29. So before they make their attacks, we need to do some movements for them. So they're going to take, let me copy these in. They're going to be taking 2 movements. The first one is going to be moving a strike fleet. Be that way, don't copy and paste. First one's going to be moving a strike fleet from Tellus to the planet of Moss, which cost 1 faction credit. And then the second action is going to be to activate the extended theater asset on Moss to move a Postech infantry, or sorry, a pre-tech infantry that is on, on Tellus to Moss. Both of those are, is a total difference of 2 hexes. So both of those movements are totally fine. So let's go charge the 2 faction credits for those moves and then update the spreadsheet. So we'll go find Tellus here, and this trade sickness goes away. And then we're going to be moving 1 pre-tech infantry and it's been specified to move the 10 HP pre-tech infantry. So let's make sure I move the correct one right here to Moss. And then there's a strike fleet on here that is also moving to Moss. Great. And then there are a few attacks that are targeting the Algomala Syndicate. The first one is the pre-tech infantry that stayed behind on Tellus, which has no valid targets, so therefore is unable to make its attack. However, the next two attacks do happen, so let's go ahead and make those rolls now. So the first one is the pre-tech infantry is attacking first on Moss. It is being defended against by a strike fleet. It does not matter at this point in time because both strike fleets have the same HP, though it will matter in the future. And then it is useful to note here that Fanatical is the faction tag of Children of the Vein, giving them the ability to reroll ones on any die. So their roll in this Force v Force attack is 10d6, rerolling ones once, plus 6. So let's go make Children of the Vein's attack roll. They've rolled an 8, so rolling a 2 and then adding 6 to get an 8. So then the Agomala Syndicate are defending with their roll of d10 plus 4. And they've rolled the best roll they can at a 14, meaning the counterattack happens. And counter damage on the strike fleet that is defending is 1d8 for a total damage of 4. Let's go resolve that out. Okay, so this rolled a 2 plus 6 equals 8. This rolled a 10 plus 4 equals 14. So the counter damage was 4. I guess I can get rid of that note. All right, let's go make the appropriate damage here onto the pre-tech infantry that attacked first, giving 4 damage, bringing it down to 6. Now it's worth noting that Agumalo Syndicate's goal is Blood the Enemy, which is deal damage to enemy faction, which is just any other faction. So they've dealt 4 damage, so their goal resolution is now at 4 out of 9. And then let's check out the next attack, which is, oops, wrong tab here, is the strike fleet that's now on Moss, which was is just being defended by a strike fleet now. There was a note that it would be the same strike fleet as above, so if that impacts the lore at all, it is the same strike fleet. Doesn't That would have been more relevant if it had taken damage, but it didn't, luckily, for Syndicate. So let's go make the rolls again. Strike fleet's still a Force v Force attack. The damage dice just change. So let's take care of CV's roll. Rolling a d10, re-rolling ones. Oh man, they've gotten really unlucky. They rolled a 1, which was re-rolled into a 1 for a total of 7. And then Agomala Syndicate here is defending, and they've rolled an 8 by rolling a 4, and then adding their 4 to it. If I've come to expect anything for making these die rolls, I think it means the defender's getting the dice advantage so far in the game. We'll have to see if that continues. But it is going to deal a total counter damage to the strike fleet of 5. So let's go resolve this out onto the turn. So this became a 1, re-rolled into 1 plus 6 equals 7, and this became a 4 plus 4 equals 8, dealing a total counter damage of 5. Which I think was coincidentally the roll needed to complete BTE, which is, Blood the Enemy, which is quite nice for the Syndicate here. Unfortunate for Children of the Vein, however. Let's go deal damage to this strike fleet to make sure it's the one that's moved onto Moss, which it is, and it dealt 5, so this is down to 3. Faction tracker here puts this at 9 out of 9. I'm going to go ahead and resolve this now before I forget, but it will be noted on Aguamala's turn that they've completed their goal this turn. Otherwise, I'm bound to forget when I copy in their turn action because this was unsure event if it would happen or not. So Blood the Enemy is complete. It's a difficulty of 2, granting 4 XP to Agumala Syndicate. Nice. Well, nice for the Syndicate. Unfortunate for Children of the Vein, but I know there will probably be some great lore that comes out of that that maybe we'll get to hear about at the upcoming lore stream. The Children of the Vein do have one final action to take before their turn is entirely over, and they're going to be taking the free action to explore the ruins on Tellus, not spending any faction credits. So because this is new, I'm going to go pull out the Exploration Explained sheet again. When a ruin is being explored, we roll a d10 plus the number of fact credits being spent, which in this case is 0, where this chart right here represents what will happen as a result of the roll. So let's see what they roll. With their d10, they've rolled a 3, which is failure and no gain to the ruin clock. Wow, CV dice luck. This roll was not as good as last time. So 3, failure to explore, no gain to clock. Which is unfortunate. You will still get a lore blurb from me, even though you failed to explore. The lore blurb will be representing um, the failure condition rather than the success. So there can still be some lore to create out of it, because even failure creates interesting complications for sure. So that wraps up the Children of the Veins turn, and we'll move on to our next faction for this turn, Ascent, who are 7th, and they're going to be taking the Exploration action, which is the first time we've seen that this turn, for as much as people have been exploring recently. They're going to complete it again, so I won't bother to make note of the goal on the faction sheet. Ascent's balance now is at 13, which is very exciting. All right, so the smugglers that are on 1206 of theirs, which are right here on planet K, and the tripwire cells are both moving to the point of interest that is on 1406, which is perfectly fine and a valid move. It costs 1 faction credit normally to have the smugglers move themselves and an asset, and then moving into an unexplored point of interest cost an additional faction credit, so that's a total of 2 against Ascent's 13, bringing them down to 11. They're then taking the exploration action on this point of interest using the smugglers first, and if that fails, they'll be accepting the failure, and then the tripwire cells will take the exploration action. Let me see, actually, if the map is working now. Nope. Okay. I don't have a note for the distance between 1406 and the nearest other hex, so one moment. As I find an alternate solution to triple check the distance of 1406 with our other points of interest, I guess. 1406 is here. 1407 is an explored system, so that's going to be 1 hex away. Okay, good. That was easier than I thought it was going to be. So 1 hex distance makes the difficulty of roll of 10. Let's go find the tripwire cells are using cunning for ascent, which is +4. So let's go roll 1d10 +4. Difficulty 10 on this roll. The first roll is a 6, so that is a failure, and they won't be succeeding at cost. So d10 +4 equals 6. The tripwire cells are then exploring with the exact same roll, so let's just hope for better dice luck, and we get it with the 14. So d10 +4 equals 14. That succeeds. And when we reveal a thing, we need to roll a d6 to figure out how many planets there are here. That's a 3. I believe that's going to be 1 planet. So let's roll up that planet. All right. Still no ruins that have been discovered. Quite unfortunate. So this planet is hybrid variable warm with an airless or thin atmosphere, having tens of millions of people with tech level 2 and altered humanity and theocracy as its planetary tags, and its mechanical tag as force assets built cost 1 less. So give me just a moment as I update our planet map here for what 1406 is now planet. Oh no, chat! I didn't write down the next planet. A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O. I think there's a planet P, isn't there? No, okay, so this is planet P, unless I'm wrong. Uh, and I'm going to go immediately make a note that this was planet P so that I remember for next time. Discovered planet P. Okay. Now, hopefully, I won't have to sing the alphabet on stream again, except I wouldn't bet on that. So, let's resolve out the mechanics tag of force assets, built to cost 1 less, with tens of millions of people. Yep, that's fine. TL2, airless or thin, being variable warm, and having a hybrid biosphere with altered humanity and theocracy. Okay, that takes care of the planet creation. Cool. Look, if singing the alphabet on stream gives me demonetized, that would be quite crazy. Cool. That takes care of that for the number of planets in the system, which finishes up the exploration. So I need to go move these planets, otherwise they're going to be on the wrong thing. Nice. Cool, those have been updated. No damage was taken because the success was just by dice rolls, and so then completing this action grants 2 XP to Ascent, bringing them up to 9. Great, so that finishes off their turn. Let me just double check that that was their entire turn. Yep, that's all I have notes for their turn. Cool. That brings us on to the 8th faction of this turn, the Agomala Syndicate, who had very, I guess, mixed success on their attacks. They didn't succeed in defending the first one, but that second defense went perfectly fine. They're going to be taking the buy action, but let's go give them their faction credits, and then we'll take care of all of that, because I bet they're going to need them to make this purchase. That brings them up to 13, and then they're going to be taking the buy strike fleet on Gome action. And the Gome has a planet tag that becomes a important thing here. So let's go verify it right over here. Yep, force assets on this world cost 1 less. Cool. So they're going to be purchasing a strike fleet on Gome, because there's no place like Gome. And I will not quit making that joke. You cannot stop me. So strike fleet and drag down all of that and copy paste. I'm going to leave the cost as 11, even though it actually cost, or as 12, even though it actually cost 11, because it's not relevant at all to this tile. That's going to cost them 11 faction credits, bringing them down to 2. And then they have two movements to take care of. Moving the strike fleets off of Moss. One is moving to their homeworld of Nueva Cuauhtemoc, and the other one is moving to Gome because there's no place like Gome. Hopefully the one on Gome gets to have a nice vacation. Where are they on right now? Moss, right. Here they are. Okay, so we'll just move this first one because they aren't damaged, so it doesn't matter. To Nueva Comotoc, and the other one can move to Gome. Cool. Which takes care of that. In this case, they have actually completed their goal, even though it wasn't on their turn, so let's make sure that it's been noted that they completed it and gained the XP this turn for future readers of the spreadsheet. I'm sure will appreciate that. And then, last but certainly not least, is the Starlit Court this turn. Fitting, given they are the TTGI chair. They'll be taking the expand influence action and then rightfully expanding influence with it. So let's go give them their 3 faction credits. Here they are, bringing them up to 6, and then they're going to spend 1, which brings them down to 5. As they are going to build a 1 HP base of influence on planet M, which they are the only individual on that planet, so it's totally fine. I'm going to actually go above this time so that it stays in the filter. Base of influence, and let's drag all these out, and it's going to be going on planet M for 1 HP, which is exciting. Now let's go give them that 1 XP for the goal, bringing them up to 8, which resolves that out. And then I do have 1 correction to need to make on Ascent's turn. I did miss, they have a note for exploring on Tellus, as I just miscopied it into my own notes. So let's go have them explore real quickly so that it's only fair on them. So let me just grab my note from last turn and then update that. So let's see what that roll is. They're still spending 0 faction credits, so they're just rolling a flat d10. They've rolled a 7, which I believe is just regular success. Yeah, so +1 to the tracker. Let's make a note. D10 resolved out to a 7. The planet map then on Tellus right here. Why are you invalid? I'll deal with that later. Bringing the ruin progress up to 4. So just like Children of the Vein, Ascent will get a lore blurb from me in the next couple of days about what they've discovered. Okay, so that wraps up all of the faction turns. So I believe that's everything I need to do spreadsheet-wise for the moment. If anybody notices a mistake, please feel free to reach out to me, especially let your faction reps know and have them DM me. Mistakes do happen, as we've seen, and it's nice to have chat correct me, but sometimes we don't always manage to catch them all. So in the event there is a mistake, just let me know. But we do have some more announcements to wrap up stream with. The first one being, as I mentioned, and Starlit Court beat themselves to the announcement, I guess, this turn, where they are the Telos Terra Group chair for the board this month. And if you caught their lore piece at the last stream, they've already disclosed what their option is going to be, but I'll put out the formal text of the decision now. So it's the TTGI Transparency Act, where a member of the Telos Terra Group has petitioned for the voting process and record keeping to become more transparent to its members. Currently, the only reported information about a vote is the total number of votes for a specific option, not how many factions voted for it. So for example, on this turn, the results were 6 and 3, but it's not released by me which faction voted for which position. This act would change the reporting method so that both the number of factions who supported and who supported which option would be released. If this vote passes, it immediately takes effect, and so therefore the results of this vote would be transparent. The first option on this vote is to change the reporting system to be transparent, and the second is to leave the reporting system as it currently is, and leaving the system as it currently is also provides +1 to the Tellus terraforming progress, as the administrational overhead doesn't need to be taken away from terraforming the planet to update the guidelines in the documentation. Um, so that takes care of the TGGI Act. The text will be in the Discord so that everybody can check it out and read it and have an idea of what they're going to be voting on. I'll get it in sometime shortly after the stream ends here. I did see a note. Yes, I saw your faction turn statement. Unfortunately, I don't want to read out any those sort of lore things on this stream. But don't worry, it will show up in the lore stream in 2 weeks' time. I already have it earmarked, and it will show up for sure. Um, so don't worry, you'll get your fun job on on stream. And then I do have one other announcement, I guess, before updating the next set of stream dates. Is It's been floating around in Met Council this month, but I'd like to go ahead and it'll be posted more publicly after this. But there is a new document out that let me go ahead and shift back over to on stream here for how-tos on map modifications. The basic introduction of this is so you want to change the map. For instance, updating a planet tags to go from failed colony to a colony, for example, in the population amount. This document outlines what all can be changed and the process for doing so. And it also introduces the fundamental aspect for these changes revolve around the idea of a constellation, which covers a region of space and provides benefits to changing planets inside of the constellation. This document will be made available, as I said, for everyone to read. It's been in Met Council for the past month. There have been some comments on it, clarified some of the language. There was a discussion over how some of these dice rolls were presented. I think for the moment, I'm still going to stick with what's currently in here, which is the idea that a die roll to make a change to the system is a D10 roll plus X plus C, where X is the number of faction credits that is being spent on the roll. So if you want a better chance of success, you can spend money on it, but 0 is an option, so you don't ever have to throw any faction credits into this. And the C value in the roll is a constellation bonus, and this document gives a better detail of how you achieve that bonus. It essentially has to do with how many hexes that contain planets are a part of your constellation. And then there's also a few limits on how many things they can get added, because this document allows people to add refueling stations and gas giant mines, etc., to the map. And just so that the map doesn't become overloaded with them, there's a limit for each hex on how many of those different items it can have. Um, this line right here is what's going to potentially go away. There was some consideration in Met Council that there wasn't people interested in having this option where assets could take damage, provide additional bonuses. So that may disappear, and so I will highlight it to indicate as such with a comment. May disappear. This is sort of the big option that's under consideration. But other than that, my plan would be to let people comment on it over this next month, with the idea that these are public, and come the end of turn 6, you'd be able to submit these changes for turn 7. So there's still an additional month before, well, 2 months before any of these rolls will be made, but this way we can start introducing these changes and give people a way to make these modifications, because I know there were a few of you that were starting to reach out and be like, hey, we're interested in working with this planet, but we'd like to change X, Y, or Z about it. And so this provides a way to do so where it's formalized, where everyone knows the role that's going to be made, and the different modifiers that can be built on it, rather than it just being an individual conversation with every faction. And the rules are sort of, well, you just have to talk to Lich about it, which I'd rather have a document that everyone can reference and then just come ask me for clarifications rather than needing to come to me to figure out the rules to begin with. And there is a few notes on here. I'll be getting a like tag list together. Um, so say which planet tags are fine, because it would be sort of weird to add, like, as my example here is the going cities to a planet after it's already been established. That would sort of be a weird change, as those sort of things. If there's a reason, say if it's an oceanic world and you want to argue for adding seagoing cities, I'm willing to negotiate on that one. But like if it's a desert planet, adding seagoing cities, you're gonna get like a look to me that's from me that's sort of like why this doesn't make sense. So uh, still open for discussion, but there will be a list here to answer this question. Any other FAQ that comes up uh, will be a thing here. So, and as I said, this link will be available in the Discord again shortly after the stream, so people can take a look at this document in further detail and make comments and ask questions if they have any. So that wraps up this announcement, I think. Oh, the conclusion to this is, and I know a few other factions had asked about it independently, is if you were interested in your, I guess, custom faction quest is the best way to phrase this. Um, and there were a few factions that were interested in doing something that's a little bit like lore progressy, where they want to write a story out of it and make some die rolls, potentially to see how successful one side or the other in the story is. If there's a story in opposition or stories about exploration, I'm open to starting to plan those out. I have an idea of what potential rewards may be for completing one of these stories, these quests. So if you wanted one of those, as I know a few factions had mentioned having some sort of grandiose ideas like that, that I'm open to start having those discussions, and we can plan that to try to have some of those this month, so we can, if there's any rules that need to be announced related to those, we can get them out so that everyone's aware of them, which is part of what this map modifications document is for. But I think that wraps up stream, unless anyone in chat, Ahmad, thinks I've forgotten anything. I'll give a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds to make sure I haven't forgotten anything. But if so, let me go ahead and say the next faction turn is currently planned for February 6th. Or, wow, March 6th. Still coincidentally the same day. But it's planned for March 6th for the next faction turn. Excuse me on that slip of the tongue there. February 6th is today. So yeah, and then the next lore stream will be on the 13th of March, I believe. Sorry, no, the 20th of February. Wow, this document is totally out of date that I'm looking at for my notes. Yeah, no, sorry, the 20th of February. Apparently I have the wrong document pulled up for the next lore stream. Time should be around normal stream. Maybe I'll get those dates right. They'll be posted. Both of those will get posted in the announcements channel so that people can know about them in advance. The faction reps should have already had the more detailed when due dates are in the faction turns channel. So it's been there. I just can't read apparently. Perhaps that's um that's the end of the stream, as my brain apparently can no longer read words that I have prepared to read out. But I'd thank everyone for attending and enjoying the stream today, and I'll leave you with some fun tunes as we end. So thanks everyone for coming out today and enjoying the stream. And yeah, have a good rest of your day.